Hello, my name is Angelica and my presentation will be on the book A Leader's Legacy by James M. Kouzes and Barry Z. Posner. The book was copywritten in 2006 by John Williams Sons. Kouzes and Posner wrote a very well-written book about the importance of leaders and the legacy they create for themselves. The authors argue that legacies requires people to move beyond short-term definitions of success, and that legacies encompass past, present, and future. This means that when leaders are considering their legacy, they are forced to consider where they have been, where they are now, and where they are going. The authors also argue that legacy thinking allows leaders to dedicate themselves to making a difference, which goes beyond just fame and fortune. The authors state that the legacy you leave is the life you lead, meaning that people can make a daily choice to lead and make a difference, which will contribute to a lasting legacy. The book is structured by the authors grouping 21 essays together to explore and discuss the legacy of leaders based on 4 main topics, which are significance, relationships, aspirations, and courage. The first part, which is significance, discusses the role of leaders and how they are supposed to serve and sacrifice. The authors argue that the best leaders are teachers and that the best way for leaders to learn is to teach. So leaders lead to teach, but also learn by teaching. The relationships portion discusses the importance of relationships in leadership. The authors argue that the relationship in leadership is between those who inspire and those who choose to follow. The third portion of the book discusses aspirations and how leadership development begins with self-development. Leaders must decide what matters in life before they can live a life that actually matters. And the last portion of the book discusses courage and how courage is a state of mind. The authors argue that leadership is courage in action. All 4 of these sections combine to prove the argument that leaders create a legacy, one that can be looked back on and respected because a difference was made in people's lives. Leaders work to serve others through teaching and through aspiration, to lead and teach, and then having the courage to do just that. My personal opinion of the book is that it is really good for both being informative and entertaining. First, the book was really an easy read. It was not too overwhelming or too dense, which allowed me to stay tuned and interested. The book has a clear voice that makes a stance without being biased or prejudiced. The author set the tone to make the readers feel comfortable and connected. One of the best aspects of the book is that the authors use the word we, meaning them and me as a reader, throughout the book when discussing the components of leadership. This made me, the reader, feel connected as a leader or potential leader. The authors invited me in to allow me to view myself as a leader and think about what characteristics I have and what components I need to work on to enhance my leadership skills. The authors seem to be speaking to anyone who aspires to be a leader or who is already a leader. But the best part is that it makes the audience believe that anyone can be a leader in an organization despite the role or the position that they hold. One does not have to be in senior management to lead or make a difference, which is one big component of the book that I enjoyed. I think that the authors do a great job building the points of leadership and use great detail to define and discuss what they believe is a leader. I also thought that the structure of the book was well done. By splitting the book into 4 main parts, significance, relationships, aspirations, and courage, I was able to get detail about each part and how they relate to leadership, and then how they all tie together. These specific topics are some that I had not heard much about or saw in literature throughout this course. These topics were refreshing and not too repetitive. This allowed me to learn about more characteristics of leadership. And the most refreshing topic was the overall theme of legacy. I have not seen it be so eloquently described when discussing the building of leadership. The authors show that what we do as leaders not only matter now, but it will also matter and make a difference in the future. As we think of the greatest leaders in our individual lives or the great leaders of the world, we do consider the legacy they left behind. And these authors bring up the importance of legacy and how it should be discussed when addressing leadership. Throughout this course, we have been exposed to many different sources and topics that circle around leaders, the development of leaders, the characteristics of leaders, and how important leadership is within organizations. This book, A Leader's Legacy, relates extremely to the topics discussed in this course. In one of our course readings, Leadership Development, Growing Talent Strategically by Beverly A. Dugan and Patrick G. O'Shea, the authors discuss how leaders should assume visible roles and be mentors. These type of roles allow others in the organization to get closer to the leaders and develop close relationships. This allows a greater level of comfort between leaders and followers. This relates to the book I read because the authors also discuss the importance of close relationships between leaders and followers. The authors argue that leaders should want to be liked and that they should listen to their followers, support them, and make them feel important. If leaders are in roles such as mentors within the organization, as Dugan and O'Shea discussed, then it will allow leaders to be in a supportive position and develop a close relationship as discussed in this book. Another connection between the book, A Leader's Legacy, and this course is the discussion of the importance of getting employees involved in all processes, letting employees develop ideas and become leaders within the organization. The article, Advancing an Innovation Orientation in Organizations, Insights from North America Business Leaders by Seabrook, Dabney, and Mark Clayson. The authors in this article discuss that it's not just the top management's vision that is important, but people of all levels. Employees need to be involved and encouraged in order to drive themselves and support others. This relates to the book, A Leader's Legacy, because the book's authors discuss the importance of every individual in the organization, and that the most important leader in any organization is not the CEO. The authors argue that the most important leader is you, or on an individual basis, meaning that everyone is important and everyone can make a difference. Managers and top leaders should encourage everyone to be involved and to find leaders within themselves for the success of the organization. Overall, the book A Leader's Legacy was great, and I recommend this book to anyone who would like to learn more about themselves, building leadership qualities, and finding a leader within oneself. The book was enlightening and encouraging, and I surely will utilize the knowledge I gained from this book towards my own leadership development. One quote that I was truly inspired by within the book was, "Leadership begins with something that grabs hold of us and won't let go. And this something will only be found when we are willing to take a journey through our inner territory. A journey that often requires opening doors that are shut and walking in dark spaces that are frightening, and touching the flame that burns, but at the end is the truth." This quote helps prove that leadership can be frightening, but it takes courage and dedication to be a leader. Leaders have to overcome fears and take risks. And with that being said, I hope that we all find the courage to find our inner leader, and I encourage everyone in this course to read the book A Leader's Legacy and learn more about what it takes to be a leader, what are all the qualities to be a leader, and how aspirations, courage, significance, and relationships all help us to become the best leaders that we can be. I thank you so much for viewing my presentation, and this will conclude my presentation about the book A Leader's Legacy. Thank you.